Um, since I'm pretty much almost done with the rest of my homemade soda, figured I'd show y'all how I make this stuff. And I wouldn't say that it's necessarily any healthier or cheaper than soda from the store, but it's really more about how fun it is to make. So, I have what's known as a ginger bug. Now, what this is I chopped up ginger, wild organic ginger, chopped it up, or not wild organic, just organic ginger, chopped it up, threw it in some water, put in some sugar, and eventually it starts fermenting and starts um, creating the water starts feeding the yeast in here, the wild yeast, and it grows a carbonating bacteria, I guess. So I get like the cheap orange juice stuff. What I like to do is I'll take one of these. I have a little pouring thing for it, and I'll scoop some of this in there. You get about, I usually actually do like a full can to make it super flavorful. I wonder how much sugar's in this. Let's look. Okay, it doesn't say. Okay, there it is. So, 6 servings at 26 grams of sugar. So let's just say 6 times 30. 6 times 3, so it's like 180 grams of sugar in there. And a Coca-Cola has about, what is it, like 100 or 239, I think, grams of sugar. So I take this stuff. I get this water hot, actually, since this is just coming straight from the freezer. I get hot water so that way it dissolves a little bit quicker. Just gotta wait for a second for this to heat up. Then I'll mix it with that and then a little bit of sugar, extra sugar, so that way the I have to do that now. You want the yeast to have something to eat, so you're gonna want to put some extra sugar in there, so that'll get converted. I'm not really measuring it. I'm just kind of going for it. It's probably like half a cup. So that's the extra sugar that I'll want to put in there. And just stir this around. Try to get it all dissolved. Kind of like a syrup. I'm kind of a messy person, so I don't really care about spilling this, but I am spilling it a little bit. I'm just going to take the spoon out, and then transfer it over into your bottle. And you have to use bottles that are actually made for soda, actual soda bottles, so that way it can pressurize properly without exploding. Because if you try putting this in a jar or something else, it will explode. And just keep on doing that with the rest of the frozen juice. Right here. I don't have much of a counter. Living in an apartment, kind of have limited space. Just keep on doing that process till you run out of your juice stuff, your concentrate. Because one of these will make basically like a 2 liter of soda. Just one whole frozen juice can thing, concentrate. And I already put sugar in the first bit, so I don't think I have to do it for the second one. The reason I add sugar is so that way the ginger bug has something to eat. Okay, So now that's your orange juice concentrate. I'm gonna wash my hands real quick. Super sticky. Then I like to use. Let's see if I can get a better one. I like to use just like a fourth cup measuring spoon, and you just dip it in there and get some of that ginger bug that you've already had. Cause like this one's like 3 months old, I think now. So I've had that one going for a while. But once you get that started after the 7th day of having that ginger bug going, you can start making soda. So I add about 2 things of it, and all it is chopped ginger, water, and sugar, and I put a cheesecloth over it to keep out the dust, and about half a cup of the juice from there, the ginger bug, and that'll have all the yeast and everything. Now all we got to do is just fill up some more water in here. I'm trying to get it to not foam as much. You kind of want the water to be like lukewarm or cool-ish. And then boom, you now have a 2 liter of homemade soda, if I can find the lid. And here's the lid. But eventually, it turns into this. So it's just kind of like a ginger beer type thing. Nice and fuzzy and very effervescent. But you kind of want to drink it quick, or else it kind of starts not tasting off, but it definitely gets a little bit of an ale-y kind of taste. But after you've mixed all the stuff together and put it in your bottle, you just leave it on the counter at room temperature for like 2 days or so, 2 or 3 days. And then be careful when you try opening it, because it might explode like everywhere. So just every once in a while, let it burp. That way you can just, let out some of the air that builds up in here, because it will build up a lot of pressure. So yeah, that's the easiest way to make orange soda at home with, I wouldn't say it's healthier ingredients, but at least you know what's in it. It's just orange juice and some yeast, so it's actually probiotics. It's actually better for you than a soda. Just don't put in too much sugar, or else you basically defeat the purpose of making a homemade soda, which is to try to be healthier. But yeah, gotta put in some sugar though, so that way that the yeast has something to eat. But if you want to learn how to make homemade sodas and stuff like that, there's tons of resources online. Check out how to make a ginger bug. There's tons of cool stuff, and I think it's a really fun hobby that people should get more into. So that way we don't, give money to these companies that are destabilizing the world, like Coca-Cola, and they don't care about people's health. So fuck Coca-Cola and all those companies like Nestle and everything. Let's make our own drinks at home, make them easier, make them cheaper, and make them healthier. Peace out. Have a great day.